Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. It's Friday, April 26, 2024. It's I think it's probably about 75 degrees out today. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, and man, the bees are getting it. We had a 1-inch rainfall about 4 a.m. this morning. It's cleared off. Once it dried up, the sun come out. It's been out all day. It's pretty windy though. It's an average wind about 8 miles an hour, gusts up to 15. So I got my little pack of rocks on the bottom of my camera to keep it from blowing over. But during my lunch break, I walked down by here and I saw what appears to be a little bit of bearding, but it's in some small little clumps. So it's been 3 weeks since I went through my hives and checked them for swarm cells. Only found them in 2, and I took care of that. And there's one angry bee headbutting me, and she's probably about to sting me. But yeah. Take care of this right now. Good grief. All this nectar flowing, one bee has to get pissed off at me. Okay. Where the heck was I? It's been 3 weeks since I checked my hive for swarm cells. Found 2 of them, yeah. And one of them I think was more of a supersedure. And when I got all the way down to the end, I did actually find a hive with some swarm cells. Most of the hives, I'm out of breath from running from that stupid bee. So, most of my hives just had, they're back. Just had some drone brood in them, so I cleaned that up, and now she's attacking the camera. Good grief. But I cleaned most of that up. I left it in a few, but that's usually where they build the swarm cells. And then when you clean it up, that drone brood, they're going to make their swarm cells up on the frame. So I want to check these little bearding sites and see if there's like a virgin queen in there. And if there is, you know, I'll put her in a clip. Yeah, and dadgum, persistent little sucker. I'll put that queen in a clip and probably pull a split and keep her in a clip inside of that split for a day, and then release her in there and see how that goes. But I think we're going to have some swarm cells, and we need to get in there and check them. So once I get through these little swarm clumps, or these little bearding clumps, I will start doing some inspections and looking for swarm cells. And I've got 3 nukes on the ready sitting over there that have frames in them ready to go. So let's get in them and see what we find. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about on these little beards. So see that right there? Now, given I've still got the excluders on there, which I'll be taking those off as I go down the line, but that looks to me like that's just a little itty bitty swarm, and there may be a virgin queen in there. And down the line, you know, here's something similar. It may just be they're hot, and you know, it's humid, but it's not hot out here. You know, it's not bad. That there looks more like, you know, what I would think on bearding, but that's another candidate to look at. So hopefully if I find queens, man, I better have some clips ready or get them in those nukes. So to me, this looks like a beard here for sure. It's right there by the entrance, and there's a lot of up here as well. So to me, that doesn't look much like a little swarm. Now this one here, it may be, I don't know. Also, I'm going to look at my records on these hives to see, you know, what I saw last in there. So the hive that swarmed, that had the swarm cells, I pulled the splits off, was that one right there with the smoker. That's hive 28. And oddly enough, that's the one that's got that little tiny beard right there. So to me, that one's the easiest one to check. Let's get on that one first and see if I can find a queen in that. Okay, I brought an old piece of comb over from that failed half nuke over there, and I'm going to just try and get them on here. And I've got my queen clip here on the ready, so if I spot her, I'll put her in a clip and then I'll just kind of set her aside. So what this may be, okay, we may have an extra queen in here from multiple queens emerging, and this is an extra queen. It could be a queen that's about to go on a mating flight. It could be a queen that went on a mating flight and came back and is just hanging out here. It could be any of those things. It could be the original queen that's phasing out and she's left and just hanging out here. Or it could just be a little bitty beard and be nothing. But let's find out. Inquiring minds want to know. There we go. That worked pretty good. It could be a queen they're killing and balling up, but it looked to me like a little beards. But they are kind of in a ball there. They're spreading out now. Not seeing a queen. I don't see one. So it's just a little bitty beard. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I'll shake these off right here. Since we're here and we're out in the sun, let's go on this hive, in this hive right here. That will be position number 36. Let me check my notes and see what they say on this hive. Okay, this hive is the house dormer swarm from last year that got into my house, and I got them out with some Be Quick before they started doing anything because my wife saw them go in. So let's check our honey super. This is my first honey super check of the year. So I've given them 4 drawn combs and the rest are undrawn with plastic. No, well, that one's a wax foundation. Not doing anything with that. There's bees covering these drawn ones. They're light, so they haven't even started. So I'm not sure what the deal is, but they're up there working it. Check the one on the other side. A little weight to that one. Yeah, it's about a third full. Good deal. You know, when you see that, you're like, man, I should have put the one on here that had the all drawn out comb. This one they're not working on. Let's look at this middle one here. It's empty. I don't even have to look. It don't weigh nothing. All right, let's get in here and look for swarm cells, which they swarmed last year. There shouldn't be swarm cells. So yeah, a hive with a queen that was a swarm queen, you normally don't have to worry about them swarming the next year, unless they get really cram-packed crowded, which they may be. Let's just pop this and see what we see in the middle. I don't have notes where I checked this one for swarm cells prior to today. Lots of frames glued down, so that tells me there's a lot of stuff in the middle here. Yeah, see some caps. Let me get the camera around here and show you what we got going on. So I see, you know, some drone comb here, but I see some empty queen cups. So unless there's queen cells up on the frames, there's not any in here. So knowing this is a swarm queen, I'm just going to clean this up down here on the bottom and close it back up, and let's go to another hive that is likely going to have some cells, some swarm cells in it. Boy, they come back up fast. I'm going to put the camera on the tripod and take care of this. I'm just going to leave this up here in the top, let those drones hatch out. But I want to clean this up on the bottom, mainly because when I set it down, I don't want to trap any bees in between. Also, it's good to take a look at your drones to see if there's going to be any mites on them. So you can see those drones there. There's no mites on those. Little dark brownish red spots. So I do have a hive. When I checked them 3 weeks ago, that there were mites on the drones. And I've not done anything to that yet. I need to hit it with some oxalic acid, or I've got a few Apivar strips left from last year, which are probably past their due expiration date, but I could throw a couple of those in there. Put back together. So I don't think this hive is overcrowded. Plus they got all this room up in this super. So tell me why they're bearding out front. Is it maybe the humidity from the rain last night? It's just kind of odd to me that they're bearding this time of year. Not something I see often unless they're overcrowded. All right. Okay, I come around here to a couple really strong hives here, number 7 and 8. I'm going to check number 8 here on the right and get that excluder off, or the reducer off that entrance. Check these supers. So 3 weeks ago I noted this hive was really strong. It had a minimal amount of drone brood and I cleaned it up. So they've had plenty of time to build that back up and start normal swarm cells between the frames. So because this is really strong, I want to check this one. And it says I under-supered this super right here. I put it underneath that one because this had a lot of coverage on the frames. So let's check these supers real quick. So we should be starting the beginning of the really heavy flow going into May and then June. So the alfalfa to my north will be blooming probably in a week or two. And right now they're just on natural wildflower stuff that's here local. Honey locust trees have been blooming. Wow, there's a bunch of bees up here, which tells me these supers are packed up. I'm gonna give you a shot of that. Yeah, so when you pop a honey super, that's what you want to see. Before you even get the lid off, there's a bunch of bees up here. So these supers, when I put them on, they're fully drawn out, most of them. So all they have to do is fill them up. When I extract them, I'll let the bees clean on them for a day, then I'll put them away and store them inside. So there's really not as many bees like in the center. There's some towards the outside. So I don't know what we're gonna, oh, that's because I smoked right there. They all went away from there. Let's look at the center frame. Nothing in there. Nothing in here. So they may not be working on this yet, so they're working on the one below. So let's get this one off of here. Also, when I lift it up, I'll feel how much weight there is to it. I've got some comb connected down between. So they're building some bridge comb or something between them. Yeah, there's not much weight to that. I'm gonna put this lid back on that super there, just to keep other bees from messing with that. So there's real good coverage here. Bees all over it. We're gonna have some honey here, or some nectar anyways. This frame's popped up, I'll grab it. Nothing there yet. Oh man, bummer. I want to see some nectar. There's some in here, but not much. You can see by the way they're on this that there's nectar underneath there. They're working on it. They're bringing it in, putting it away. So I think they're just beginning. Like I said in my previous video, weather's been terrible. When it's not rainy, it's windy. When it's not windy, it's rainy. Yeah, so see, they're all over this. Yeah, they're working on that. Okay, let's get into the hive and let's check for our swarm cells. Yeah, so there's really not a lot of weight to this one either, but more than the other. They're just getting started. So I'm gonna leave the excluder right there. I'm not even gonna take it off. I'll put a little smoke on them here. So with them being so interested in the nectar, they're not real aggressive, but when you break into that middle, sometimes they can get a little testy. Well, it didn't feel stuck together. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look what I see. Well, that one's, it's not open, it's broken. It broke because I pulled it apart from the bottom. So there, same there. So it's a little early yet. So here's an undisturbed cell, uncapped with a larva in it. That one's quite a ways along, but we tore it apart. So it would have been connected down here. Right there's the bottom of it. That tore apart. So here's a good cell. That one got torn. There's one, there's one. There's one that tore apart. Looks like she's working on one right there. Come out. No, it looks empty. So if I can find my queen in here, I can get her out, and I can leave like one of these frames, pull one split off, and but you know, there goes the honey. So let's see if we can find our queen first. So looks like frames 5, 7, and 8 are the ones that have the cells. We'll go ahead and I'm just going to set this back down. I'm not going to have to clean up the bottom because the bottom doesn't have anything on there that's going to interfere and smash any more queen cells. So we'll just set her down here. I'm going to lightly smoke them off of this excluder, so I don't want to run my queen off where I can't find her. So I don't believe they've swarmed yet because those cells aren't capped, most of them. We'll see if we can find her. And I'll go get me a nuke box on the ready here. So if we find her, we'll just set that frame in the nuke box and get her separated out, so we'll stop that swarm. Okay, let's get in here and see if we can find our original queen. It's been about 20 minutes because my boss called and I had to take that call. So, a lot of stuff going down. I don't like leaving a hive open that long, but couldn't get it closed up really when I'm on the phone. Well, this frame is empty, so we may, you know, they may be low on stores in here. But since there was some nectar in that bottom super, they're probably fine. Yeah, this one's heavier. This is mostly full of nectar. And boy, there's a lot of bees in this hive, at least on that frame. So if your queen is thinking about swarming, she may not be hanging out, you know, right on top of the brood, laying a bunch of eggs. She may be down in the bottom box. Look at that, they're just piled on there. They're drawing this. This is a undrawn plastic right cell frame. Same thing here. I think this is a refurb frame that I just worked on, and they're drawing that out. Here's pollen, so we're going to get into some brood here pretty quick, I would suspect. So here's where our brood was. It's all empty here. Here's some capped brood here. So it's emerging out in the middle, working out towards the edges. Get this a little closer. So here's one of our queen cells right here. That is a good one. Those two are destroyed. So we could make a split with this, have one queen cell. It's got brood on it. I'm going to look real close for that queen here. I'm also looking to see if there's other queen cells up higher on the frame instead of just on the bottom. I don't see her, so we need to remember that fourth frame over, we might pull that. But if I see the queen on a frame, I'm going to move it immediately. Take it over to my nuke box. Gosh, there are just piles of bees on here. Finding that queen is going to be difficult. What I might do with this is just do a 50-50 split, and knowing my queen will be in one of the boxes and maybe she'll stay, give each of them one of these supers. I got an empty slot 3 spaces over. I think if I don't find her in this top, I may just do that. That way I have 2 fairly strong hives and not really a little split hive and have to worry about mating and all that as much with the 50-50 split. Boy, so here's a lot of brood right here, capped brood, and larvae out on the edges. So it hadn't been long since she's been laying. I'm trying to go as easy as I can on the smoke, just using it to move bees out of my way, because I don't want to smoke my queen and get her moving away from here. I want to find her. My gosh, look at all those bees just piled on there. Some of this piling on may be because there's a lot of foragers coming back, and I had those 2 supers off the top there for, it's been at least 25-30 minutes now. So these bees were probably wanting to transfer nectar up high. Oh boy, looking for a queen in a haystack here. So here's our queen cells. So that one is torn up a little. They might be able to repair it. That one's too far gone. Here's a 2 viable cups, 3 viable cups right there. 2 larvae right here. So those can be made into queens. They can draw those out, seal them up. They'll be fine. Oh, I found her. I'm not going to take her to the camera, but she's right there. She's the mated queen. So bam. So that simulates her. She's swarmed. Now we'll get some resource frames in here with some nectar and pollen. I'll grab that frame that had the pollen, and then we'll just pull a little split out of here, and we'll take that 1 super off of them. So got a fresh waxed frame here, putting it between brood. You don't want to put it on like a honey area, because they'll draw the honey out thicker and they won't touch that. So when there's brood between it, they'll draw it out more normal thickness. Plus we're in the nectar flow, so they're going to do good with this. So I need to grab another resource frame with bees, right? And we need to leave them swarm cells. I need to clean the swarm cells off of that, or get different frames in there with her. So here's a good queen cell right here. So I'm going to take these bees, I'm going to shake them in that nuke. These are mostly nurse bees and they're not going anywhere. Well, hang on. I don't want to shake this because it's got queen cups that aren't capped. You don't want to go shaking your queens. Never mind. So we got the frame here with the pollen and some nectar. We'll pull out this blank. I'm gonna put this nuke back here behind me so you can see what I'm doing with it. So I got the frame with the bees on it and the queen. Lots of brood on it. Let's see how many swarm cells were on that. So there's just 1 cell. Oh, there's a couple small ones. I hate tearing down cells. Let me see what else I've got further over. So I got to get more bees in here, and I don't want swarm cells in here with my queen, but I got to get them some food. So we'll check this. This will be frame number 8. I'm thinking 8 had a swarm cell on it. It has one that's damaged. So I'll shake these bees in there. So I'm not worried about that damaged swarm cell hurting it, because it's already damaged, right? There's that damaged cell I was talking about right there. They may repair that. Either way, there's other cells in here. There may be too many. Too many meaning there may be some little cast swarms come off of this when they all start emerging with those queens. So here's a good brood frame. So if I put that in there with them, they'll be set. I got to get some food on them. I'll probably put a feeder on top of them. There's a lot of nectar in here too, all up around here. So there's us a good split. Put that brood towards the middle and these blanks to the outside. I'll get my Ceracell top feeder on this. Not worried about feeding right now because the flow's on. Not worried about robbing. So there's my empty spot down there on the left. Got a few bees kind of hanging over the outside, so I'll scoop those in and get the lid on. So we took 2 frames and shook one. So we basically got 3 frames of bees in here. I'll reduce that entrance down a little bit with a wood block so they don't have as big an area to defend from ants. There we go. So there's our split. That should do just fine. Now we got to get this put back together. So we need to replace another frame that we took out. So here's an undrawn, brand new, waxed. Actually, there's 3. We took 3 frames out of here because I've got 3 of these. So I'll just checker them in here. So this hive still has a pretty decent population, even with pulling those 3 frames out. 2 frames of brood. There's still some brood in here. But I don't believe they're going to need 2 supers now. Another blank waxed. And this is the first frame we took out. Man, look at all those bees on there. I was thinking maybe that's a little swarm, but these swarm cells aren't mature enough for that to come off of there as a swarm. Now watch me find a virgin queen in here. Nope. Okay. So I could have pulled at least one more split out of here, but I want to save some honey production here. So we just made us a queenless hive, and they should be good. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put both of those supers back on, knowing I'm going to remove one later. Let these bees get settled out. We'll try and get this reducer off of here. There we go. Give them some air. Okay, that was a success. Found a queen. Artificial swarmed her over here on number 5. Number 8's queenless. I need to find me a brick. There's one. Here's the queenless brick. So we'll follow up on this. I'll write good notes too to make sure I noted this is queenless. And we're gonna get rid of one of these supers. And yeah, this was really good. So I used my notes prior to see this was a really strong hive. I knew that. And I didn't clean up a lot of drone brood from it. So I figured it may be built up and had some queen cells, which it did. And Hive 7 is very similar, but not quite as strong as this. So I'm going to go into that next. And I'm going to end the video here because it's probably pretty long, I'm guessing. So I've got a lot more to do. You know, about 30 hives I got to get through, do this same thing. That's one reason I didn't bust this down into like a 3-way split, because there's going to be plenty other opportunities in these other hives. So yeah, the timing is right. So we got to get this done and get it taken care of. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up on this video. It helps bring it up in the viewing ranks and helps me out. I appreciate that. We'll catch you all on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.